He told her that he could be her legal representative and was going to help her create a safety plan and get her out of the relationship. And it was a perfect timing because Tara's ex was working at a company where he had to go out of town for a few weeks at a time, and that time was coming up. He left on September 2nd. So with him out of town, Tara felt a little bit more safe. He had left their daughter in the care of his aunt, and Tara returned to the house. While he was away, he repeatedly called his aunt, demanding photo and video evidence that his daughter was there and Tara wasn't. But his aunt seems to be all right, and she called Tara anyway. On September 3rd, Tara and her boss sat down and created the safety plan. Tara's mom picked her granddaughter up from her daycare and brought her to Tara's office. They got her a new phone, arranged for Tara and her daughter to go to a hotel room for the night, and they arranged for her to get into a women's shelter or refuge the following day. Tara's mom said that Tara was so frightened that she wasn't even acting or talking like herself. It was like she was a completely different person. When looking at this case, this particular event also represents stage 4 of the 8 stages of domestic homicide. Tara's ex called and texted her 270 times within a 10-hour period that day. Tara's mom brought her straight to the police station and let them know what was going on. Tara told them that she was really fearful of how he was going to react once he found out that she left. She showed them all the text messages, but they said that since she responded to some of them, they weren't able to help her. She told them that he could easily access a firearm, and a temporary protection order was granted for Tara and 8 of her family members, but there's no record of the police attempting to ever serve this. And in the end, she was left trying to get a private protection order. Everybody knew that when he returned, he was going to be furious and looking for Tara everywhere. And that's exactly what he did. He went to her grandparents' house, her brother's house, her friend's house, and her mom's house, frantically looking for her. And when he couldn't find her and found out what was going on, he started targeting her mom and her boss. And they took the threats so seriously that they actually relocated for their safety temporarily. Here we can see stage 5 of the 8 steps. Somehow, God bless her, the two were able to make arrangements for Tara's daughter to go and see her dad that Father's Day. And on September 5th, Tara and her daughter returned to the Gold Coast and Tara facilitated the drop-off. It went well. There was a 30-minute window from drop-off to pick-up to ensure that Tara and her ex didn't see each other. And the visit was a success. And here we see stage 6, and Tara got really hopeful that things were just going to blow over. So on September 7th, she left the shelter ahead of her scheduled plan and went to her aunt's house to start returning to her life and work. She had a lot to do, a lot of errands to run, a lot of things to get organized, so she decided to put her daughter in daycare the next day so she could get some of it done. But what Tara didn't know was that her ex was actually still furious with her and trying to hunt her down. And he hadn't stopped searching for her, and he actually wanted to get revenge on her. He called the daycare and asked if his daughter would be coming in on September 8th, which they confirmed. This represents stage 7. Also, if any of you guys watch Callie Trout's video, Callie's Law would have been amazing and very helpful in this situation. Tara dropped off her daughter, and as she was walking out to her car around 8:25, she was confronted by her ex. She got super scared. She ran to her car, jumped in, and drove away really fast. I'm going to show a recreation of the following events found in a documentary made about Tara and her case, and I'll link that video below. And here we see stage 8 of the 8 stages of domestic homicide. As Tara got in her car, he jumped in his, and he followed close behind. At first, she didn't notice that he was there, but as he caught up to her, she saw him and tried to lose him. She hit a stoplight, and he pulled his car in front of hers. He got out, brandished a knife, and started punching her vehicle. She was able to speed away, but he caught up with her once again. At this point, she had dialed 000 or 911 in the United States. Basically, she was on the phone with emergency services. Tara was forced to stop her vehicle a second time. He cut her off again, jumped out, started attacking her car, punching it, kicking it, and she was able to drive away again. But he quickly followed. At times, she was driving up to 100 kilometers or 62 miles per hour through neighborhood streets trying to get away from him. She was screaming for help, and he rammed his car into hers over and over again. At one point, the front passenger side of his Jeep hit the driver's side of her car, causing it to swerve and run off the road. Her car hit a 3-meter or 9-foot tall embankment and plowed into the yard of the house below. Her vehicle came to a rest on its side, driver's side down. She was alive, trapped, hanging upside down, and screaming for help. Neighbors and passerbys rushed to her aid and started calling emergency services. Her ex drove up the road about 70 meters or 0.4 miles and parked his car. We can see footage of him running back to the scene of Tara's crash. As he's running, he stops and grabs a solid steel hydrant cover that weighs 7.8 kilograms or 17.2 pounds. When he approaches the car, witnesses thought he was some random person trying to help. So when he told them to help him smash out the window, they did. He climbed into the car, knelt on Tara's chest, and hit her in the head violently and hard with the hydrant cover 16 times in the head. Witnesses tried to fight him off, but they couldn't. They could hear her screaming, calling his name, begging him to stop and to help her. The attack was captured on that 000 or 911 call. At one point, someone screamed, "What are you doing?" And he yelled back, "She has my kid." And he continued to hit Tara in the face 13 more times, making it 29 times total, before he left the fire hydrant on her face and fled the scene. He stole a car and left. He cut himself in the neck and legs superficially before going to the police station and surrendering. When emergency services arrived, Tara was alive, but unconscious, unresponsive, and in critical condition. She was transported to the Gold Coast Hospital in Queensland and put in intensive care and on life support. Tara had severe head injuries, multiple bruises and lacerations on her head and scalp. She had severe facial and skull fractures, and a depression in her skull so deep that it actually damaged the brain below. Tara had necrosis of the brain, which is death of the brain cells due to severe swelling. She was unrecognizable, and the doctor said that her injuries were unsurvivable. She was taken off of life support and died September 9th, 2015 at 9:03 p.m. Horrifyingly, while at the hospital, Tara and her ex were treated in adjacent bays. With him conscious and only having minor superficial wounds, it meant that he could have easily continued the attack on Tara. Thank gosh he didn't. On February 27th, 2017, he was sentenced to life in prison for her murder. And it later came to light that Tara's ex had killed a man by beating him to death with a 15-inch wrench for the gang because he had an outstanding drug debt. And the murder occurred on July 6, 2015, just 2 months before Tara's death. Upon examination, it's clear that Tara experienced significant coercive control, physical, verbal, financial, emotional, and sexual abuse. It's evident that she only stayed with him because he threatened to end the lives of her mom, her brother, her grandparents, and himself, and she believed that he was fully capable of carrying out the threats. Why wouldn't he? After all, he broke the protective order 3 times before murdering her. There was an investigation on how the police responded to Tara's case, and it was concluded that the officers responded to her case, especially the ones she encountered on September 3rd, failed to respond appropriately and subsequently failed her greatly. Tara's family went on to create the Tara Brown Foundation to raise funds and awareness for domestic violence shelters and charities worldwide. Tara is remembered as a kind, beautiful, soft-spirited, radiant go-getter, a young mother, an exceptional, doting mother with an aspiring outlook. She was a talented athlete and an excellent employee. I'm sure that her death leaves a gaping hole in the lives of everybody that loved her. My deepest condolences go out to Tara's family and friends. She seemed like a genuinely wonderful person. While researching this case, I learned that there's ways to assess the severity and level of dangerousness in intimate partner relationships. The Ontario Domestic Violence Death Review Committee created a list of 40 risk factors that indicate the potential for lethality within these relationships. They studied cases, and in 80% of them, over 7 risk factors were identified as being present. It's widely agreed that the presence of one or more of these risk factors should invoke an immediate response to the situation by law enforcement. The information gathered from this study basically states domestic violence homicides are somewhat predictable and share a similar pattern of events, just like Dr. Jane Monckton-Smith points out in her 8 stages of domestic violence homicide. So if these are fairly predictable, then I hope with these videos, you and I can both learn the different patterns of behavior and events that occur to hopefully make sure that we can intervene and get the help we need before it's too late. As always, if you guys find it in your heart, please light a candle for Tara or for anybody that's experiencing or has lost their life at the hand of domestic violence. And if you or anybody that you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out to somebody in your support system or resources, both local or national, and check out the safety plans on this page. You're not alone, and there's a lot of people out there that are waiting for you and want to help you. I hope that we all learned something from this case, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to Tara's story. I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe out there.